Hi, I'm ILLIBET, and these are my top 5 tips for starting out on Sunkenland. Tip number 1, before doing much else, you want to do a little bit of rummaging in the ocean and get yourself some scrap, some fabric, and some components together, because you're going to need to get yourself a sack. Pretty easy to come by. Things like cars and washing machines tend to drop a fair bit of fabric. Craft a rope, make the sack, put the sack on, have a lot more inventory. On that same note, getting a crude axe is going to enable you to farm a lot quicker. The things that you can hack up in the ocean, kill some enemies when they inevitably attack, get the marlin, which you will need for the diving fins, which you definitely want to get straight away as well, and you get some food off the marlins, which is super handy because that's one of our next tips. And the crude axe isn't very expensive when starting out. You probably want to make like a wooden spear maybe as well, because it can kind of help to kill the marlin. I wouldn't bother making the bow as of yet because you can upgrade a little bit later. We'll go into that. But that brings us into tip number 2, and the reason why we want to do a lot of our looting during the daytime is because nighttime, once it becomes 8 o'clock, it will become freezing in the water and you will start taking health damage, and that's no good for anyone. So definitely focus on things like looting during the day and building and planning out stuff at night or a little bit before you can sleep, because you can only sleep every so often. You can swim quite quickly just on top of the water, sprinting, especially with those flippers, and definitely try and focus on a boat super quickly. Not only does it get you around a bunch quicker, but it also has inventory slots, which enables you to bring back more loot or more building. Different boats enable you to get different places different ways. The pedal boat uses stamina, so you need to have a bit of stamina for that. The sailboat, you've got to sail with the winds and stuff, and you can get motorboats and various other boats. Motorboats pretty easy to get. First boat I had in my first playthrough, found the blueprint somewhere, but it does require gas. It does go very quick, and gas isn't too hard to find, so it's not a bad option. All of their storage is about the same and they all can accommodate a few people. Tip number 3 has to do with building. You want to definitely start out building in metal rather than wood. I mean, sure, you can build a little wooden shack just to plop your first few things on, but wood is a little bit more finite. Scraps are everywhere. Although in saying that, all wood is wood. You chop down a tree, you get the logs, it's logs. You chop down a cabinet, you get some wood. You pick up a stick, it's all wood, no matter what form it came in prior, which is nice for inventory management, not gonna lie. But because inevitably you are going to get raided depending on your settings. On hard, I think it's every day. On medium, it's every 3 days. And on low, it's every 6 days. You're going to want more HP for your stuff. And that goes for your storage. I choose to use metal barrels personally because decent amount of storage in them. I don't think anything has a higher storage actually. But considering that's 12 wood for a wooden crate with 300 hit points, that's 8 metal for 500. That's 10 with 2 for 500. It's all pretty much the same. Apart from aesthetics wise, I just go metal. If I get a few more components up, I do metal chests because I can stack them a little bit nicer. But you don't even really need to focus too hard on building something on this starter island. You might find somewhere you like better, but it is good to always get a bed down straight away. That is super important because that's your spawn point and how you can sleep through the night, pass the time, etc. Sleeping will make you hungry and thirsty, which will bring us on to tip number 4. Make sure to place a water filter pretty soon on, but pretty easy to fill this up and add some wood to it. Definitely place it as close to the water as you can, because you have to get a bucket, fill it up, put it in the thing, and then have the wood in there so it then turns into water and you can drink that. Then you can gather some food and put it on a grill. Again, both of these things not too expensive to craft, and definitely consider putting down a planter straight away to grow some strawberries because they're really handy to have. You get a fair few strawberries and mushrooms on your island while you're going and gathering some wood for your purifier and your cooker. Look out for those, as well as some crabs, and don't eat any of them just yet because they're really handy to make some stuff later on. You can make the stuff with the strawberries now. Say if you're out on a long adventure, you're out overnight, you're on your boat and you can't sleep, you can make that to increase your stamina by a bunch without having to waste waters that you happen to have. And then the crab can be used to make a seafood platter, which is really nice because it gives you extra 50 health points, and crabs are pretty rare and that's pretty decent to have if you're going to fight one of the marauded outposty things. And it's not too hard to find other food. In the ocean you'll find scallops, which I'll show you in a second, but also killing the marlin will give you some large fish meat as well as the marlin skins you will need. Pretty easy to kill them with a crude hatchet scallop or a spear. It takes like 2 or 3 hits and you just kind of wait for them to swim back past you, get some breaths up, and just cook them away. You will need some scallops for some of the meals like the seafood feast as well, but they're a bit more common. And while you're in the water, you can also keep your eye out for these guys. Pick that up, and that's going to enable you to make the herbal medicine, which will again come in very handy when you're raiding stuff, or you just don't eat or drink enough and you die, or you stay underwater too long and you die a little bit, take health damage, not actually die. But another great source of food is building the research table and learning yourself a fish net. It will passively generate fish in there, which you can cook up as you desire or save some of them for later recipes, depending on your needs. You can also get cool things like 2-handed axes, crossbows, which you can use to kill the marlin from your boat. Very handy to get the marlin without any of the dicking around. The metal spear, again, it's going to be a bit easier to get the marlin. It's a bit more pokey. Pressing sprint while you're in the water will enable you to move pretty quickly even without the flippers. But finding these rocks, you can loot them for the scallops really easily. Now you got your little settlement starting. Tip number 5 is don't be afraid to explore, especially once you got a boat. It's pretty easy to kick about to a bunch of these islands and not actually take on the dudes, although a lot of them are pretty easy to cheese, not gonna lie. Killing sharks as well is not as scary as it may seem. I'm personally not a huge fan in real life. They're super easy to kill in this game and you need them for upgrades of like your backpack and armor and things. You can find some really nice resources the further on you go. You will definitely need things like air tanks, but having your research table is going to help you immensely with that, because it will kind of show you the things that you almost need to craft those things with what you need to research them, and that'll help target a little bit of that. But do keep in mind you will be getting raided, so don't go too far from your base depending on your situation, and definitely build a better base than this if you happen to be on medium difficulty in day 3, because I'd be getting hit right now. My stuff would be getting destroyed and I'd be sad. Let me know in the comments if these are any of the things that you use when you start out in Sunkenland, or if there's anything that you think that I've missed that is extra important that could make it into a top 5 tips. If you found this information informative, I'd super appreciate a like, as it really helps with the algorithm. As this is a new YouTube channel, I'd super appreciate a subscribe. And until next time, I hope you have an excellent day, evening, night, morning, whatever it may be, wherever you may be. Have a good one.